All right, welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. We're going to be talking fantasy football sleepers, the fantasy kind, not the AJ kind, who shows up to the draft half asleep and then drafts his first of two defenses in the draft. We'll be right
Gotta
back.
go with it.
The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour with your hosts, Joe Bond and AJ Applegarth.
Touchdown! All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. We got wannabe Captain America guy.
Oh, that's
I don't
right.
know what you are, man.
I'm amazing. That's what I am. I am amazing.
All right. We're going to be talking sleepers. Today, we're going to give you our favorite sleepers at each of the four positions: quarterback, running back, receivers, tight ends. Before we jump into that, though, want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Subscribe to Fantasy Six Pack. Our all access memberships are available. Go over to fantasysixpack.net/plans. You're going to get access to the award-winning rankings. The only place you're going to get them this offseason. Our draft cheat sheet is live. Our DFS and betting projections are always going for all the sports. And of course, the NFL ones will kick in for those when the time comes. We've got the preseason projections. We've got some other stuff on tap this season as well in the works. So go ahead and jump on over there. We've got promo code F6P Pods to save 15%. And if you jump over to our Twitter or our Facebook account, you might see an extra promo code there, special for 4th of July for those that are catching this in time. But yeah, without further ado, though, I guess I should introduce my guest or my co-host. I'm an idiot. I am off today. Not feeling great, so apologize about that. With me, I'm Joe Bond, by the way. I didn't introduce myself even. Jeez, I am off. You guys just yell at me? Jeez. I got all thrown off because AJ and his stupid Captain America shirt. Over here, Corey Pieper. I'll introduce him first since AJ turned around on me. How's it going, man?
I don't have a cool Captain America. I have a red, white, and blue shirt on. I don't have the cool Captain America get up, but I am doing well here. Happy 4th of July to everyone when you're listening to this. Go out and have some fun.
Yeah. AJ, you muted yourself too, so good work on that.
Sorry, people upstairs were making noise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right here, Jamie. I've always been here. I've just been incognito most of the weeks.
Right. Of course, we got Albert here. What's going on, man? AJ, how are you doing tonight? You're obviously in good spirits, it seems like.
Yeah, the day started off okay and got out of work a little early. Went to a nice lunch and had some tasty beverages there, and then just kept the party rolling. Went back to work.
3-day weekend. Who's complaining about that?
Exactly. Went back to work and finished out some other stuff, and now I've got some Jason Kelsey approved garage beer to try this thing out. I almost bought some Budweiser, being as that it is America's weekend, but I decided against.
That's a rough one. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Budweiser Zero is apparently a thing now. Didn't know that.
They're like no alcohol. That's gotta be what that means. Right?
Maybe I don't know.
I mean,
never do that, but it might be like it's very low calorie. Maybe
It's gotta be like a light.
Yeah. It caught my attention for about 6 milliseconds, and I was like, and moving on.
All right. Well, let's get into the sleepers here for tonight. And we'll start with the quarterback position. AJ, I will let you go first.
Okay.
Who's your sleeper at the quarterback position?
My sleeper this year is close to my name, but 2 letters off, and that is CJ Stroud. He had an awesome freshman year in the league. Lots of quality appearances for a quarterback, even though that is a pitching term. But it kind of lit the world on fire and came out of nowhere for the most part. Shocked everybody. And then last year he did the same thing, shocking everybody in the fact that he just completely sucked. So, they lost Diggs. Feel like they never really have Tank Dell. Nico Collins is still there. He's a monster. We know that. They brought in two rookies who I really like this year, former teammates, and now they're going to continue to be teammates. Plus, they have a solid running back in Joe Mixon, and the running game itself is going to just be enhanced. So I think there's going to have, with that dual threat running back room, I feel like it's going to take some pressure off of Stroud. He's going to have more time to open things up and get back downfield.
Yeah, I'll be honest. CJ Stroud was one of the ones I was heavily looking at, and you got to it first, so unfortunately missed the boat on that one. But yeah, I do like Stroud this year. Is a little bit of a bounce back. I'll admit I have him ranked down this low as well, but it's kind of around where he's going. Just because, we still haven't seen him throw the number of touchdowns we'd really hope, a quarterback who relies on his arm basically only to be able to do. But he's got the weapons around him for sure. The one thing you got to worry about with him, though, is the offensive line. I don't know if they really bolted it enough. That's the one thing really holding me back from pushing him up. If that offensive line can keep him upright and not just running around like an idiot back there, which is not something he really wants to do at all, because he's not really a mobile quarterback. He can scramble, but he's not really much of a mobile guy. If that can get shored up, then I think he's going to blow up. But I do like Stroud to kind of have a bit of a bounce back. He's not going to completely bust like he did last year.
Yeah,
I think the offensive line part of I like Stroud too. I'm not sure I would call him a sleeper, but I think the offensive line part can't be overstated. That was a big reason that he got sacked 52 times last year. That went up 14 times, and they traded away Laremy Tunsil. So, you can say that Larry Tunsil's great. And they cut Shaq Mason, who's terrible anyways, finally got rid of Kenyon Green, and they brought in new guys. Cam Robinson's there, Laken Tomlinson. So maybe the offensive line it can't be much worse. I'll say that, but they also got rid of their best offensive lineman. And like you said, DJ Stroud is not running around back there creating his own plays. And it's Nico Collins and the rookies. And so maybe that works, but yeah. I'm not ready to say CJ Stroud is going to bounce back to he's finished top 8 this rookie season. I think he's just kind of streamable. That's kind of where I'm at with CJ Stroud right now.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So who's yours, Corey?
I will go with Trevor Lawrence, the former first overall pick a few years ago by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So he has 2 top 12 finishes in 4 seasons, but yet it feels like he has been consistently disappointing for fantasy managers. Last season, shoulder injury caused him to miss time. He came back, made it 7 plays and got concussed and stopped playing at that point. So we only played 10 games, 2,045 passing yards, only 10 touchdowns, 119 rushing yards, the fewest he's had, and 3 other touchdowns. Now, part of his problem has always been that he has not been able to find a top target. I think we can safely assume by now that Brian Thomas Jr. has emerged as a star wide receiver in the league. And then they went out and they drafted Travis Hunter, who can play both ways. And it sounds like they want to just basically have him focus on playing wide receiver to help out Trevor Lawrence. And then it's just a matter of we have a new offense coming in here after the disaster that was Doug Peterson and Press Taylor for years. And before that, Urban Meyer's whatever year was that his rookie season that ruined Trevor Lawrence with Darrell Bevell and Urban Meyer. We have Liam Cohen coming in. So Liam Cohen is the new head coach, taking his talents across Florida from Tampa Bay, where he turned another former first overall pick in Baker Mayfield into having a career season. Baker set career best passing yards, touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, finishing as the quarterback 4. I don't know if I'd say that I predict Trevor Lawrence to finish quarterback 4, but I do think he's got a lot more rushing upside than I would never have thought Baker Mayfield had that type of an upside. He rushed for 378 yards last season. He had never rushed for 170 yards in his first 6 seasons. We've seen Trevor Lawrence. He's ran for around 300 yards in his healthy seasons. Can he get to 500-600 yards rushing? I think it's actually in there. He ran for more yards. People forget it. At Clemson, he ran for more yardage his senior year than Justin Fields did. He can run the ball. And we just have never seen that. I think that Liam Cohen getting in here, getting some talent around him, I'm pretty excited for what could be with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, my dynasty team is hoping you're right. I drafted him, hoping he was my quarterback of the future, and it has not worked out like I was expecting. So, but yeah, I think the biggest thing for me with him is the fact that it is an offensive coordinator change. Like that was just a disaster there. And although there are still plenty of times though where you're just kind of like, it almost seems like Trevor Lawrence is just out there like, yeah, no, this is easy, right? And it's just like, I don't know, like he's not really like all in it, you know. It just feels like it's just out there like, yeah, all right, cool. Anybody else like kind of get that sort of like vibe from him? I don't know. It just feels
it's the hair. It's the cool flow.
I guess, yeah.
He's got that Fabio look to him.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good call.
Sunny.
But no, I do like Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I think the talent is there. He's just, and we've seen it. You know, that's the big thing too. Is like we've seen it. So I like it.
I kind of give him a pass on that rookie season because he was just so screwed with Meyer. And as a Gators fan, I thought that maybe it was going to be okay, and it wasn't. It was just so erratic and not productive. And then under Dougie P, the quarterback whisperer, he's definitely had ups and downs, but more ups I feel like than downs. He was a little disappointing last season, but again, he missed some time, so to be expected. And the team in general was kind of a dead zone. So I like Lawrence this year. I don't know. If he falls to me in a certain spot, I might be okay as a second quarterback option, but not necessarily going out of my way to get him, I don't feel like. But that could change.
Yeah, so not somebody I love talking about here, but I am going to go Dak Prescott, a guy that 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago, was QB3 on the year, averaged over 20 points a game fantasy. Last year was just a mess, man. I don't really know kind of what the deal was. There was a huge lack of a running game. I think that really factored into it. Not that this year's is going to be awesome, but they've got at least like 5 different options to hope they can find one. It feels like, but the biggest thing is right. He's coming into the season healthy. Missed a little bit of time at the end of last year, hamstring injury, stuff like that. But coming in healthy this year, and we know he's got arguably one of the the best receiver in the league. You put him up there, CeeDee Lamb, that is, with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, and rightfully so. We know he is a monster. They traded for George Pickens, and as much of a train wreck as he can be, as far as being in the locker room, you can't deny the talent. George Pickens is a very good football player. So I love the addition of George Pickens for him. And we know that Dak Prescott is going to swing the ball. They love to just let him just drop back and throw this ball 40 times a game, it feels like. And so the volume is going to be there. It's just he's got to cut down on the turnovers from last year. And, I think, there was a bit where, I think CeeDee Lamb started off, he got hurt in preseason. He started off really slow too. Or no, it was the contract talks. That's what it was. So he started off slow because he wasn't really playing with the team initially. But I think this whole year is just going to be different for Dak. We're going to see, not that I think Dak is going to get back to that QB3 finish. It's really hard for any of these guys that we're talking about, honestly. Trevor Lawrence maybe slightly in the other direction, but it's hard for Stroud and Dak and even Trevor Lawrence to a degree, who kind of rely more on their arm than their legs, to get up and project them to be a top 5 quarterback. You have to have those like Mahomes-esque years where he's throwing 40 touchdowns, right? That's when he was there. And now we're even seeing Mahomes not quite get there anymore because it's just hard to pass guys like Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, who are consistently running for 500, 600, 700 yards and rushing for 8, 9, 10 touchdowns. That's really hard to pass. So I don't know if I'm not going to project Dak to finish that high. In fact, I've got Dak ranked right around this 12 to 14, 15 range. But if there's anybody who I would believe out of this list could do it, it's Dak, because he's got the weapons. We've seen him do it. He's been elite for fantasy before. And so I'm gonna choose him as mine.
Okay, terrible pick, but okay.
And wearing the star.
That's right.
That is true. You are.
I'm America's podcast.
Okay.
Podcast. 8 weeks we got out of Dak last season before he ripped his hamstring off the bone. So want to make sure that I haven't seen anything that I assume that's healed up by now. I want to make sure that's true there too.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to make sure Dak's healthy. And then when even he's not healthy, like when he was healthy last season, it wasn't quite the same. And you mentioned like getting George Pickens in there should help that. He only threw touchdowns 3.8% of the time, which was so much fewer than we've ever seen from him before. He gets the touchdowns to bounce back, and then we can get the fantasy points rolling. And I don't know if you said it or not, but we are only 2 seasons removed from him finishing as the third quarterback. So it's not like he hasn't done this before. He can do it, but I want to make sure he's healthy. And so I like Dak, but it's kind of in the Trevor, like, I probably like Dak slightly more than CJ Stroud, but they're both not really targets, but I'll be fine with any of these guys as my starter.
Yeah. These are if you wait on quarterback guys, these are the ones you're targeting. And rightfully so, if you want to go out and grab the Allens, the Lamars, the Jaden Daniels, you want to just go lock it down, get that elite talent that you can kind of rely on. I have no problems with it. But I'm also in the camp of waiting for quarterback is still a thing. We see it every year. Guys just come out of nowhere, surprise us. And honestly, if you can wait and draft your quarterback late and they can finish as like a top 5 guy, that's like league winning picks kind of thing. Because when you wait on quarterback, you're probably getting one in like the double-digit rounds, most likely. And that's where all these guys are going. Jimmy over here is saying his sleeper is JJ McCarthy. How can he not be top 10? Bums like Darnold, Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins can put those types of numbers in that offense. I get it.
First off, Josh Dobbs not a bum. Josh Dobbs, astronaut. The Pastronaut is a great nickname. Sorry, continue.
I'm still of the mindset that I don't know. I have a really hard time trusting rookie quarterbacks. Especially ones that cannot run. And JJ McCarthy does not strike me as a mobile guy. So I'm a wait and see with him. I get the talent is there. I get the weapons are there around him. And the offense is great. And it's gonna, it kind of is a little QB proof there. So but I'm a wait and see with a guy like JJ McCarthy. Dynasty and Superflex, absolutely go for it. This redraft the year, I'm probably not going to have him on any of my teams.
If you're really going to wait, like I think JJ McCarthy is awesome, and I would completely disagree. He can run. He's actually quite athletic. I think JJ McCarthy's got.
Does he run? I guess that's the thing. I don't.
He played in an atrocious. He played in a Michigan offense that had Blake Corum and who's the other running back that got a ton of carries. So they ran the ball for like 5,000 yards. I'm sure I did hit me, but he can. I think he ran for like 200-300 yards in that offense at Michigan. So he can run. That's part of his skill set. That's part of the reason I'm a little down on Aaron Jones, because I don't think they're going to do as many dump passes to him. But that's if you're really waiting until the end to take a quarterback. Like, these guys should go ahead of JJ McCarthy.
We got another question here from Albert. Would you pair a Justin Fields with one of these guys?
Sure.
Look, and I think people are starting to finally catch up to this. I like Justin Fields for fantasy. I don't like him as an actual NFL quarterback, but his ADP is a lot higher than I thought it would be. It's around, I want to say QB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's well, so he's QB 14, but I've seen him go much higher than that. And I think it's the rushing ability that we know he's got, and I've got him ranked QB 11. So if he's sitting there, I'm probably going to snag him before these guys. But yeah, I mean, maybe a Fields, and then like I don't know, because these guys are probably going like what 3-4 rounds later at most. I don't know if I'm taking my second quarterback quite that close together, if I do take a second quarterback at all. But I get the hesitation with having Fields as your only guy. We've seen him get pulled plenty of times, but I just don't know if the Jets, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, or if you disagree, I just don't know if the Jets have anybody that they are like itching to put in behind him. Like,
I think, isn't Tyrod still there? It's like backup legend.
Maybe.
yeah. I'll have to look at that. Is he there?
I don't know if he is.
I don't know. I'm blanking on that. Oh, where is the? Oh my gosh! Oh, here we go. Jets.
Yeah, he is still there.
Yeah, see,
He is there.
legend.
Yeah.
But behind him, there's Adrian Martinez and Brady Cook.
Adrian Martinez, USFL MVP. Put some respect on that man's name.
I didn't disrespect it. I'm just saying these are the other names I'm reading on the depth chart. So maybe they're good, maybe they're not.
Jimmy, how deep of a league do you play in to be stashing Sam Howell just in case McCarthy doesn't work out? That's nah, I'm good. I mean, look, as an
Like a dynasty.
yeah, it's got to be dynasty, right? There's no way that's like a normal redraft league. But anyway, let's move on over here to our running backs. And AJ, you got the floor.
All right. So running back wise, I am going with another famous initials player, and that is J.K. Dobbins. I swear I didn't do this on purpose. So Dobbins finally had a breakout year that we've been pining after for years. Last season in LA, his 3 prior seasons with Baltimore. His rookie season was decent. 805 yards, 9 tutties, and just overall solid play. Threw in some receptions, 18 for 120. But then the injuries hit. So, you lost him for, just chunks of the season. If it was, half of the season or all of the season, basically, like 23. So I was looking at him with trepidation last year, but I knew the talent was there and the upside was there. So I stashed him in a couple of leagues, and he panned out, very well for me. It had almost 1,000 yards rushing at 905. I had 9 touchdowns again. And then he was, more involved in the passing game, 32 for 153. So, over 1,000 scrimmage yards in general. Very productive in that offense. You knew that Harbaugh was going to want to run, so he did. And then, obviously the injury hit again at the end of the season. So, okay, well, here we go again. But, he stayed in division this year, and he's over in Denver now with, Jaleel McLaughlin. They drafted RJ Harvey. You got Estime, Tyler Beatty. I mean, none of these guys really move the needle much. McLaughlin's more of
I like me some Harvey, man. I like
Yeah.
me some RJ Harvey.
I mean, Harvey's interesting, but I just until he proves it in the NFL, I'm again a little hesitant to worry too much about him. And McLaughlin's more of a pass catching back, anyways. So I just like Dobbins. I think he's gonna be a valuable player again. And if because of the amount of depth in this running back room, he may be able to get some more rest and hopefully not be injured again. And then we'll just see what happens. But looking at what Peyton's done with running backs in the past, it's got a pretty good track record. So I'm excited for Dobbins this year.
That is the first time I think anybody's ever said they're excited for J.K. Dobbins.
Probably. That's why
I'm a little more optimistic about him, but I do think he. I mean, obviously, him having his first like real healthy year last season was a huge part of his breakout. Being in that Chargers offense that just ran the ball a crazy amount helped him out a lot. I don't think Denver's planning on running the ball that much. I think they like Bo Nix enough to let him drop back and pass, and they traded for Evan Ingram. So I think they're looking to lean on that a little bit too. And then the fact that they've got RJ Harvey and they drafted him where they did, I think they are going to lean on him enough that J.K. Dobbins is I think at best 55-45 split maybe in his favor. I think it's going to be pretty split between those two. In fact, I've got RJ Harvey ranked ahead of Dobbins in my rankings overall for the year. Obviously, the injury history factors into it, and I mean, not that there's a lot of wear and tear on him as far as like mileage, but because of the injury history, that is a lot of wear and tear, just that negatively impacts him as well. But I don't know. Corey, you can give your thoughts and then jump over to yours.
I think that the signing of J.K. Dobbins just kind of lowered the ceiling of what RJ Harvey could have been if we were going to get the true Alvin Kamara workload. I do think that if you want to make the comparison, right, J.K. Dobbins is the Mark Ingram who's going to get his carries, and RJ Harvey is more of the Alvin Kamara who comes in, catches passes, and picks up yardage via that way. But I do not I'm not expecting him to be Alvin Kamara. I just think it lowered both of them a little bit. And if one of them got hurt, maybe I'm more interested in it. But I also could see, like, specifically if RJ Harvey got hurt, I don't think they're just going to say, okay, J.K. Dobbins, you're taking 25 carries a week, catching 2 passes. Then you'll see Jaleel McLaughlin more involved. And if J.K. Dobbins got hurt, I don't think we'd suddenly see that out of RJ Harvey. Then you'd get Audric Estime involved, because there's just so many people. There's so many backs in this backfield that even if there's an injury to one of those two, I think they'll find a way to kind of cobble around it, kind of like we've seen with Sean Payton before with Taysom Hill, and find ways to just irritate fantasy managers. So I'm not super excited about anything in Denver right now. I will take some of those guys if they fall, but not like big targets of mine.
Yeah.
One target of mine is my sleeper running back, and that is Kaleb Johnson. A quick shout out. I almost went with Isaac Orendo. I just want to talk about Isaac Orendo quick. I also don't trust the health reports of the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm Christian McCaffrey because I got burned by that last year. So take Isaac Orendo late. Seriously, I don't trust anything they say.
I get it.
But that is a real deep one. So if you were looking a little earlier, Kaleb Johnson, the rookie running back, drafted day 2, I believe, late 3rd round by the Pittsburgh Steelers, who we already talked about. Najee Harris, he is gone from Pittsburgh, vacating a lot of target carries with him, at least 255 carries each of the seasons he's been there, 4 straight seasons over 1,000 yards, averaged at least 15 carries per game. Kaleb Johnson played on the Iowa Hawkeyes last season, which I talked about bad offense with Michigan. If you have watched any Iowa Hawkeye football, it is like tough to watch for your eyeballs on offense because it does not look pretty. They cannot hardly throw the ball downfield. Everyone knew who was going to get the ball. Kaleb Johnson got the ball 240 times, exactly 20 per game, and turned it into 1,537 yards and 21 touchdowns. And that's what he's going to get here in Pittsburgh. So I've talked about my feelings towards Arthur Smith, but one thing I know that he's going to do is run the ball. Last season, 4th in attempts in the league, 31.4. 2023 with Atlanta, 30.7, 3rd in the league. 2022 with Atlanta, 32.9, led the league in carries per game. Now, 2021 is the one outlier season. That year, 29th, he only averaged 23 carries a game. Remind you, the top running back that season in Atlanta was Cordero Patterson, who's not even a running back. So he couldn't run the ball even if he wanted to. And then 2020 with Tennessee, 2nd, 32 carries a game, and his first season, 27. So let's say he takes a slight step down. Instead of running it 31 times, runs it 27 times even, which is low for him. I know they don't want to give the ball. They've never shown they want to give the ball to Jaylen Warren. They've never shown that yet. So what's to say that we're not getting 17 to 20 carries a game out of Kaleb Johnson right away? I think that's in there. At times, I like Najee Harris. He's reliable. I think Kaleb Johnson has more juice than Najee Harris. I think this could finish as a top 15 running back pretty easily in his rookie season.
So my only pushback on this is the Aaron Rodgers effect. And that Aaron Rodgers, as we know, check, I'm passing the damn ball, right? That's what he likes to do. It's give me the ball, I'm going to do it my way. And we'll see how much, Aaron Rodgers is going to buy into the system and just kind of let it go. But I think we've seen a lot of history with Aaron Rodgers where he's gonna, if he's not, especially if they're losing games, right? He's gonna get real mad and he's just gonna do it his way. And I mean, we saw that with the Jets last year. I mean, they ran the ball like a league low, like one of the league worst, like 35% of the time. Really bad. Near the end of his Green Bay tenure, they were running the ball a little bit more than he had earlier, but it still wasn't a lot. So that's my only pushback. I do like him. I do think he takes that Najee Harris role, which I think people are kind of sleeping on. So I like that a lot. Jamie, of course, man. You and Roshan Johnson, man. The bro love
there.
The bromance between you and Roshan, man. We'll see. Oh, very interesting pick there because my sleeper is his teammate, DeAndre Swift, who I think is being completely slept on. I have no idea why he's going so low. Look, we know who the Bears brought in, right, as a coach, Ben Johnson. We know what he can do with running backs in Detroit. We saw what he can do with an offense in general, right? I think everybody is optimistic here with this entire offense. The one kind of, the one thing we kept looking for, right, in the NFL draft and free agency was, are they going to bring in a running back? Are they going to bring in a running back? And they never did. It's DeAndre Swift and yes, Roshan. I'm just not like now. Look, maybe Ben Johnson switches things up and gives Roshan, more work. Maybe he does turn this into a Gibbs and
David
Montgomery kind of thing where it's Sonic and Tails or whatever, right? Or Sonic and Knuckles. Maybe it's kind of that thing, but I just believe that Swift is going to be the primary benefactor of all of this, and he's going to get a lot more work than we've seen in years past from him. And the offense in general is just going to be so much better. They're going to be scoring more points. So I really like DeAndre Swift, especially if I'm going like hero RB or hell, zero RB, like he's a guy that I'd be trying to reach for like around early. So at least I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with DeAndre Swift this year, as long as he can stay healthy. That's kind of been a thing for him. Like he sort of seems to get banged up a lot, but like the last couple of years, 16 17 games. So not a huge knock on him there. So
I wrote the draft guides that we've been doing for
they are done. Last one came out today.
All 32. I did the NFC North, so I talked about DeAndre Swift when I did the Bears one, and I pretty much agreed. I thought they didn't really add anybody. Kyle Monangai I liked, but 7th round rookies, you never know what you're going to get there. And we have seen Swift with Ben Johnson. That one year they crossed over in Detroit, and Swift averaged career best 5.5 yards per carry, but it was also the fewest yards of his career or attempts of his career, but 48 catches that season. So I also think that he is being undervalued right now.
Yeah, I do like Monangai. I like his potential upside, but him and Swift are both only 5'9", pretty similar size in general. Swift's 215 to Monangai's 209. Roshan's got the edge at 6 foot 225. Of the three, I still think Swift is the most athletic and just the best option overall. When he was here in Philly, I loved having him here. He ran his ass off for this team, and they just had him involved. And I was kind of hoping that they would re-sign him, but then they were like, "Oh, we're bringing Saquon." I was like, "Yeah, okay, well." Then.
He'll be all right.
Yeah.
I will say this, Corey, to your point about Swift, lowest yardage total in his career in 2022 with Detroit. That was, just remember, that was also the year that Detroit brought in Jamal Williams, who ran 262 times for 1,066 yards. And anybody remember? 17 touchdowns.
I do.
Unreal.
You remember that?
Yeah.
The league.
And remember how bad Jamal Williams has been since then?
I do.
That should be
really
Ben
good.
Johnson. Everybody wants to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. When Ben Johnson walked into his interview, he should have just handed him a picture of Jamal Williams and just been like, "I did this.
Yeah.
This is what I did."
Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah,
I turned
all right,
a bird into a cupcake. Higher.
All right, over here to our receivers and AJ. Who you got?
All right. Well, I am. I'm keeping it homegrown here and going with the Maryland born and Maryland University star in Stefon Diggs. Diggs has been erratic at times, but he's been very productive throughout his career. His first 5 years in Minnesota, the last 2 years he was over 1,000 yards. Played in 15 games each year. Averaging the first year in 2018 he was at 10 yards per reception, and that jumped all the way up to 17.9 the following year. So I've always liked Diggs. The problem with him is obviously his diva-ism and his need to always be the main guy. Last year in Houston, obviously he missed half the season with the injury, but in 8 games he was almost at 500 yards receiving, had 3 touchdowns. And again, I've already talked about their receiving room, and Nico's always been the guy the past few years, and Diggs was supposed to be there as a nice compliment. And he was, but he was back down to the 10 yards per reception. So, Buffalo was obviously his best career years, especially 2020, where he led the league in receptions and yards with 127 for 1,535, chipped in 8 touchdowns that year. He's just always been productive. I do feel like there was weeks where he would disappear, but then there was other weeks where he would be the only option and just take everything. So I'm interested to see what he can do with Drake May this year. I feel like May is another up and coming sleeper for a lot of analysts, and his second year in this offense, it'll be very interesting to see how he can continue to grow. And I think them bringing in a veteran like Diggs was just a great move for that. And he's going to help May get better with his abilities. So I'm all in on Diggs this year. I think it's, a nice bounce back opportunity for him after, a failed attempt in Houston, again, more due to the injury. But, he cried, he got out, and cried and got out of Buffalo, and then here he is in New England. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think the one hesitation that you had to have with Stefon Diggs is that the injury was an ACL tear, and they're saying he's ahead of schedule. But I mean, it was enough. It was like I'm pretty sure it was like late October. He tore it in week 8. So
yep.
And he had a lot of competition in Houston, but he just looked bad at times last year, man. And it looked uninterested, but he should be, when he is on the field, he should be the guy for New England. I will say that for a fact. And Drake May did have a strong finish to last year. He was kind of my, outside of Stroud, was kind of my 1B as far as a sleeper. With Dak, I just picked Dak anyway, just because slightly more confident in it. But I do like what New England's doing there. They brought in They brought in Trayvon Henderson to pair with Ramondre. They brought in Stefon Diggs to help out. And then, of course, they brought in Vrabel, who I think is the offenses weren't always awesome in Tennessee, but, they had some pretty damn good seasons. Of course, a lot of that was because of Derrick Henry, but, it is what it is. When you got Trayvon Henderson and Ramondre, maybe it'll work out.
Yeah, I just think again, this receiver room is just uninspiring with Douglas. Kyle Williams is a rookie they just brought in. Keyshawn Butte, Kendrick Bourne never seems to ever go away from New England. I think he's on like the Bobby Bonilla contract with them. And then, Mac Hollins, he's Mac Hollins. So, I think it was an obvious need for the team. So, might be a slow start though with the injury.
Any thoughts on Diggs, and then you can move over to yours?
Yeah, the injury is the important thing. I want to see him actually practice. And it does, like you said, it sounds like he's ahead. He wants to do more, but New England is kind of telling him to slow roll it because if you get hurt, we still have to pay you. It's from what I was reading about him. So they kind of want to slow roll him. The other thing I want to point out is he kind of switched the way he plays last season. Now, maybe that's just because Nico was on the other side, but shortest 8 out of his career by a substantial margin. He just operated underneath essentially the entire season. Only 8.7 yards. He was consistently posting above 10s before that. And so we'll see if that changes. I do, like you said, if he's healthy, he's clearly the best wide receiver on New England. I just want to see him healthy before I really buy into it. My receiver
that also probably could have been because of Tank Dell also being there as field stretcher as well. So take that. I think Diggs had to go into that role, and I think he hated it. I'll be honest with you. I think he hated it.
And that could be. My wide receiver is Calvin Ridley. So there are, I should say, 11 wide receivers with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in the NFL. Jamar Chase goes as the wide receiver 1 off the board. Justin Jefferson goes wide receiver 2. CeeDee Lamb goes wide receiver 3. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes wide receiver 4. Then it drops. Nico Collins goes wide receiver 7. A.J. Brown goes wide receiver 10. Garrett Wilson 15. McLaurin 16. Devontae 17. And Mike Evans 19. All top 20 wide receivers, except Calvin Ridley goes at wide receiver 35 off the board. So you have 10 of the 11 going in the top 20, and then Calvin Ridley goes outside barely as a wide receiver 3. Quick refresher, he has had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Last season, his quarterbacks included Will Levis and Mason Rudolph, and he still found a way to get over 1,000 yards. So then it becomes, okay, well, who did they bring in for competition? Tyler Lockett, who we talked about in the Old Faces, New Places, not worried about Tyler Lockett. Van Jefferson, not really worried about Van Jefferson. And then a couple of rookies in the day 3, Kamiri Dike and Alec Manor. On top of it, they added a better quarterback. You could say what you want. Cam Ward, I haven't seen Cam Ward play in the NFL yet. I feel very confident that Cam Ward is already a better quarterback than Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. Very confident in that.
Not get crazy here.
I think he's one of the safest bets in the league to lead his team in targets. I think he's just extremely safe. And I think people, whether it's the 1 year he missed with the betting, I don't know if that's why people don't like Calvin Ridley.
No,
he's just really safe.
I'll say this. I was all in on Ridley the year he came back from the suspension, even when he moved over to Tennessee and you kind of worried about quarterback play. I was all in on it, man. Dude, he disappears for games upon games, man. And yes, a lot of that was his quarterback play. But my goodness, man, you're looking at last year, it was it just wasn't great, man. 4 for 58. 5 for 84, fine. 5 for 73. I guess full PPR, fine. You're getting 10, 11 points out of it. But a couple games, 1 for 9, 1 for 5. The week 10 for 143. He had a 3-week stretch, man. 10 catches, 143, 5 for 73, 5 for 84, throwing some touchdowns in there. I immediately was like, hey, anybody in my dynasty league want him? Was like, bye-bye, have him. I'm out. I'm done. And some sucker took him from me. And was like, thanks. So yeah, we will see, man. I think 1,000 yards. It's just, for me, it's the consistency with him, man. Where did he actually even finish last year in I don't actually even know like where was his ranking or his like fantasy.
He finished. We don't want standard because who the hell plays standard anymore? 28th on a season basis in PPR and on a per game basis. Finished 20th or 40th. Excuse me, 40th. My bad.
Yeah. So I mean, he's going.
Sorry, Tay Martin finished 39th. Tay Martin finished 39th. Don't even know who that is.
Like one game.
Yeah,
I mean, he's going around wide receiver 36 right now. I've got him at 34, so I do like him a little bit better than ADP. But yeah, I mean, consistency wise, and look, he is dealing with a rookie quarterback who, he went number 1 overall. Yes, we can say he's better than Will Levis. If it wasn't this year, Cam Ward's probably around 2 pick. I would think. Especially like last year's class, like I think he gets pushed down pretty big time here. We got a couple in here from Uncle Ted. Uncle Ted back in on the Marvin Harrison train, top 5. I hope so, man. I hope so. I gotta see more from him. That offense needs to change. I think they were using him wrong, but I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure that they're going to change the offense. Unfortunately, is the problem because it's the same crew. So
I'd like to know who's fault. Like the top 5 is aggressive because Chase Jefferson, Lamb, Puka, Malik, Amon-Ra, like that is some. I hope he does too, but that is some high praise for him.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, look, I think we'd all be happy with like top 10.
Yes.
But I mean, you're looking at like half PPR league scoring leaders, and my computer won't refresh. I don't know what's going on. I think I have too many things open. Have you seen him this year? Yes, he did bulk up. I did notice that. So that's a good thing. He was a twig. So he did need to bulk up for sure. So my fantasy, my scoring chart won't show up. But anyway, let's finish things off here with our tight ends. AJ,
are you not going to give a receiver?
Oh sorry.
I mean, if you don't want to,
I'm all off the.
if you don't want to, you don't have to. But.
Uncle Ted distracting me here. So my receiver here is going to be Ricky Pearsall. I really like what Pearsall did when he got back on the field last year. That was and I think a lot of people are kind of hesitating because they don't really know like what's going to happen with Ayuk. Like, is Ayuk going to play the whole season? When's he coming back? Is that going to really factor in? Is Ayuk going to turn back into like the must be number 1 guy here? I'm just not really sure if he is. I still think the 49ers are trying to trade him. I just don't think they're finding any buyers. That contract's pretty big for him, and the injury history and the off the field, not off the field, but like locker room issues that he brings. He's just kind of a headache. But I think you've got to like what you saw from Pearsall the last couple of games of the season. 10 and 8 targets, 141 yards, and then 69 yards and a touchdown apiece there at the end. So all good things there for him. Once he got rolling, I think you saw the talent come out with him. So I think Ayuk starting the season slow, not being a big favorite among the coaching staff in general. I think we're going to see this offense run through Pearsall, Kittle, hopefully a healthy CMC, and or maybe an Isaac Guerrero. Who knows? Or like I said, I do think they're still trying to find a way to get rid of Ayuk. And look, they already got rid of Debo, so that's already a bunch of targets that are going to just immediately go his way. So
definitely vacated.
I just don't know. My issue with all of the 49ers, and I'll take whichever one is last, is I just don't know that all those targets are going his way because, like you said, if CMC is healthy, he's going to get he's going to get a lot more passes thrown to him than was thrown to Jordan Mason or Isaac Guerrero or whoever else they were running out there. Then you have George Kittle. Then you have Juwan Jennings. Then if Brandon Ayuk is healthy, he's in there. Then you have Ricky Pearsall. And I just have no idea how that's all going to shake out because we haven't seen it in a while. So I just want who's ever last. That's what I'll take. Whichever one of the three receivers falls to last, I'll take that one.
Yeah, could be any of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Pearsall's the most. I think Pearsall's more talented than Jennings overall, in my opinion. I know Jennings is, he's been there longer, so you saw more production out of him. But I think, I think Pearsall is kind of we saw the talent flash there at the end, and I really liked what I saw at the end there with him. So
I mean, the one thing we can't sleep on with the Niners receiving core is that Tariq Owens is there, and his father, Terrell Owens, was pretty good for the Niners back in the day. So maybe he's going to be the last one up and just blow everyone away. So TBD, but I'm keeping my eye on him.
TOT.0.
That's right. One Hall of Famer to another future Hall of Famer, I guess.
All right. Now we move over to tight ends. Sorry about that earlier. AJ, finish it off.
All right. Well, I promise I'm not trying to relive my homerism here with the Eagles, but I am going with Mr. Zach Ertz down in Washington. Gross, but
yeah,
Ertz has had a very, very solid career. Again, pretty much all of that with Philly, but then he was, in Arizona for a hot minute or two, and last year as a 34-year-old tight end, played in every game, had 91 targets. 66 receptions, 654 yards. But the big thing with him was that he was an end zone target for Daniels, hauling in 7 touchdowns. He hasn't seen 7 touchdowns since 2018 and 2017 when he had 8 each. Those are the only 2 end zone or touchdown years that he beat last year. I think he will continue to be a red zone threat. He's reliable. That Daniels has trust in him. So I don't see why that wouldn't continue now. Again, they have Debo there. Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't really think he's going to be eating into a lot of Ertz's targets. I feel like he's more of a gadget guy. I think he's going to be used as the gadget guy there too, just like he was in San Fran. He's going to be rushing. He's going to be, shielding, and he's just going to be, a guy. But McLaurin is obviously the number one there. I think Ertz is, he could be the number 2. Like, he's just that consistent and valuable in my mind to Daniels.
I mean, I think that Zach Ertz. Remember at this time last season when everyone wanted to draft Ben Sinnott? It was always gotta get Ben Sinnott, Ben Sinnott, and then it's just no. Zach Ertz is really good at football, and even at 35 years old, he's still the one that you want to own. And now with nobody's buying back in again, and yeah, you can get him late, and he's probably going to do like top 12 tight end again. I don't like you said, I don't really see what's changing. I don't expect Deebo Samuel to come in and change that a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to have to rely on the red zone usage, the end zone targets. 27% end zone target for him. It's a very high number, so that's going to be hard to repeat. You take away just 1 or 2 of those touchdowns. We're talking probably a much different story for him, but I still think he's being heavily slept on. Like, just maybe his age, maybe people are factoring in Debo too much. I don't know. I think that does knock him down a little bit, because I do think that there now is a legit second receiving target on that team. I mean, like, Noah Brown was fine. it was always just like a different guy. Like it felt like every other week there was somebody different. That was like the number 2 for Washington catching the ball. But I think now, as long as his health is there, Debo is absolutely the guy. And so that does take away from Ertz and the 90th. I think, what did he say, 93 targets? I didn't have the stat up, but he only caught 66 of them. It was the touchdowns that really, carried his value big time. But I do like Ertz this year where he's going. So, Corey.
Okay, no laughter from anybody in the chat, in the room here, but I'm going with Kyle Pitts. And here's really my strategy at tight end. I want one of the top 6. I will pay up for Brock Bowers or Trey McBride in the 2nd or 3rd round. I will get George Kittle in the 3rd round. I will take Laporta, Hawkinson, or Evan Ingram when they go. I want one of those 6. And if I don't take one of those 6, I will wait till literally the last few rounds, right before I take a kicker or a defense and draft a tight end. And then I'm just going to shoot for all the upside in the world, and I'll take Kyle Pitts. So say what you want. He's a 1,000-yard season on his resume. That is, there are 10 tight ends that are 8 active tight ends that are done that. Travis Kelce goes really early. George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, Zach Ertz, and they'll talk about the last one in a little bit, who just got recently traded. But disappointing.
Yeah, Jamie.
Disappointing season last season, but still 47 catches, 602 yards, 4 touchdowns. Did you only finish this tight end 12? That is still a top 12 tight end last season. And as disappointing as he's been, he has 4 full league years in this league. He is 24 years old. Tyler Warren, as a rookie, is 23 years old. He is 1 year older than Tyler Warren, who we're all ready to buy in on. So Kyle Pitts came to the league super young, is 1 year older than Tyler Warren still. And he has a new quarterback, Michael Penix. Maybe we'll see him find some success. The old trope of a tight end as a quarterback's best friend, right? That type of thing. It's just that he's so inconsistent from week to week. That's the problem. 8 weeks last season as a top 15 tight end, and then 6 weeks outside the top 30, including, I think, 1 week where he was negative points. So it's tough, but if I'm just going to wait, I will take all the upside in the world and shoot for Kyle Pitts. If he sucks after 2 weeks, drop him. No one's going to add him. Stream the position. Find someone and play the hot hand. That's what I'm going to do. I want one of the 6 that I can rely on. And then after that, I will just wait, shoot for all the upside in the world. If it doesn't work, move on.
100% agree with your strategy there. It's grab one of the top or just completely wait till the end and punt it. Like, I don't really even care. Kyle Pitts, I'm sorry, is not one of my punts, because that's like you're just throwing it in the trash. Like, I just can't do it with him, man. He's a DFS play only, in my opinion. I just can't do it. I mean, like we saw at the end of the year, even with Penix, 2 targets, 5 targets, 3 targets, it wasn't there. And yeah, those were Penix. I don't know if he played. I can't remember if Penix played more than 3 games or not, but I know it was those last 3 at least. If Penix, Penix was just force feeding the ball down the field to Drake London. And I mean, the amount of targets Drake London got at the end of the year was incredible. And yeah, maybe that balances out a little bit more. I just think that this offense likes to use Pitts blocking too much to the point, to help out Bijan and Algier at times. I'm not buying in on Pitts anymore. He's a streaming tight end at best. It's a bye week fill-in. It's a DFS play. You've got to play the matchups there. I just don't think they utilize him the way that we were all hoping he would. So I'm done with Kyle Pitts. Yeah. So
I think that sleeper pick is the Pitts. That 1,000-yard season you're talking about was only 1,026 yards. So he barely cracked it. Mm-hmm. And it was his rookie year. So, okay, great. You still only got 1 touchdown that year. And you really haven't gotten that many more since. It's actually pretty astounding that his first year he got 1. His second year he got 2. His third year he got 3. And last year he got 4. So,
we're up to 5.
All I'm hearing is he's on the way up. All I'm hearing is he's on the way up. This year it's 3,
totally the end zone threat now.
Yeah. 7 or 8. What can you say?
We do have a Jake Ferguson call out here. Yeah, tight end 16 off the board right now. Yeah, that's punt tight end range. It's okay. Not sure I'm loving it, but why not? Who's the Bears coach? We mentioned that one. Ben Johnson. Love it because you mentioned the Colson Loveland. I get it. But I mean, look, Corey, I'm with you, man. Like, I don't know if in redraft, I'm not going to go after the Tyler Warrens or the Lovelands right now. I
don't want the
Tyler. I like Tyler Warren a lot as a player. I hate the landing spot. Who's throwing the ball? Are we really trusting Anthony Richardson or who? Like,
Daniel
who
Jones.
Cares? Like, no thanks.
I just don't want the middle tier of tight ends. That's what I don't want. I don't want to take, like you said, Colson Loveland's probably going to be awesome at some point. I don't know if it's this year when they have 3 other wide receivers and another tight end on the team. I think Tyler Warren will probably be a fine player. I don't want to trust that. I don't want to take. I like Tucker Kraft. I'm a Packers fan. I like Tucker Kraft. I don't know how many times he's going to get the ball. I don't know if David Njoku as a quarterback would get him the ball. Like, that's the area. I just will avoid that area because those guys all have questions. Just give me the backside. And like I said, if Kyle Pitts doesn't work out, then 2 weeks in, I'll pick up Isaiah Likely and he'll disappoint me for after he gets, 40 yards. Oh, remember, wasn't it week 2 last year? He had like 40 points. Remember that when Isaiah Likely just caught everything and everybody was all in, and then he had nothing for a few weeks. But that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll hit lucky and I'll get my Zach Ertz, Chigakonkwo, something like that. But not touching the middle tier.
Probably a guy who's being slept on more than anybody, and I kind of passed over was Hunter Henry. I mean, like, you got to wait, take him. He's going super late in drafts, but a guy that I'm liking, who I think has a little bit more upside than some of these guys, a little bit unknown. Brenton Strange. We talked about Jacksonville already and how we like the way that this offense is going. And they brought in some help for Trevor Lawrence. They they traded Evan Ingram because I think they like what they have in Brenton Strange. The few games where Brenton Strange played without Evan Ingram, he looked really, really good. He had like a 12 target game, caught all 11 one time. Had 5 and 6 target games. You're loving that from a tight end, man. You get 5, 6, 7, 8 targets a game for your tight end. That's good things. I think Brenton Strange, let me look at his age. He's fairly young, I want to believe. Man, my computer is just not loading anything for some reason. But
why is his birthday not on here? Second round pick in 2023, so he's not very old.
Yeah.
Oh, he's 24. I found it.
Yeah, I was going to say 24. But yeah, also a Penn State guy. I think they can do good things. I mean, look, last year as a backup tight end, didn't play a ton, 40 catches at 411 yards. As the second tight end for a bad offense last year, those are pretty good numbers. I think he's gonna step in and do very well this year. And yeah, as much as I like Travis Hunter's talent, I do think there's a little bit of, if they do play him on defense, how much does he sit on offense? That does have to be kind of considered there a little bit. And I do think they're going to use him both ways. I think he's going to play some special teams. He's just a talented player. He's going to be all over the place. So maybe he misses, a few more offensive snaps than people are expecting. And look, he's still a rookie. As much as we love our rookies and the upside they all bring is for as many, neighbors and Lad McConkeys. There's the Marvin Harrisons who don't quite come around the year 1, and maybe they come around year 2, year 3. And so maybe it's going to take a year or so for Hunter to kind of catch on here. And Strange already has the work. He's put the work in with Trevor Lawrence already in this offense. So I like him as he's going, he is tight end 22. So, I mean, you don't even have to draft him. He's not being drafted at all. So you can take one of these, if you want to go try to grab like Kincaid or, Ertz or something like that, and maybe they don't pan out, you're still going to be able to go get Brenton Strange. He's gonna be somebody you're going to pick up off waivers possibly.
I like the Brenton Strange call out. Last season, K-Dot and 59 catches, 600 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That's the Liam Cohen offense, and that's on the same team that had. So even if, let's say Travis Hunter hits, right? Like the Buccaneers last season with Liam Cohen at coach showed that Mike Evans can thrive. Chris Godwin was eating in that offense. K-Dot was getting the ball plenty. Like they can support 3. Bucky Irving,
Absolutely.
like and Rashad White, they can support a lot of fantasy viable players. So maybe we can get Brian Thomas Jr., Brenton Strange, and Travis Hunter to all deliver viable fantasy seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie's got his Mason Taylor top 12 tight end. I mean, I guess that would be something. So over there for the Jets, I don't know, man. There's just something about a Aaron Rodgers tight end that everybody gets hyped up for, and I just
Justin Fields.
It almost that feels. I don't know why I'm thinking Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not. Sorry, I can't buy into it. I can't buy Justin Fields passing weapons. I can't quite do it. It just. I think they take a hit big time, and Garrett Wilson might actually be a bit of a steal as far as value goes, as far as like compared to his talent. There's a big reason why, and it's because who his quarterback is. Where's he going? He's wide receiver 13 off the board right now.
I do agree with Jamie's premise there, though. Like there is no other the weapons in the Jets are hard to rely upon.
True.
I don't know if I would bet Mason Taylor to finish second. I think it would probably be honestly, it'd probably be Breece Hall who finishes second in targets on the team, but something like that. But someone else has to catch the ball there. They're not going to throw it a lot, but someone has to do it.
That's true. I want to say, I read reports. I honestly didn't really know a lot about Mason Taylor coming out of college. So I just read up on him. I want to say I read stuff that he's pretty raw, like offensively and like pass catching. So I think there's gonna be some time we're gonna have to wait for Mason Taylor to really kind of pop in the NFL as far as getting acclimated into the offenses and being a fantasy star. I think it's gonna be a wait and see here.
Getting back to the sons of Hall of Famers too. So AJ mentioned T.O. son, Jason Taylor's son. So
yep,
The
absolutely.
more you know.
I mean, yeah. All right. Chad over here saying, and this is in reference to Brenton Strange and K-Dot in here. I think that's less Cohen's offense and more the physical baby Gronk like profile that K-Dot provides. K-Dot's a good player. Obviously overshadowed a little bit in that offense as you mentioned, but I think Strange has already proved that he can get it done when his number is called. So I do like it. All right. Well, that's it for the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Those were our sleeper picks for the season. Next week, we're going to be jumping in and giving you our bust picks for the year. And of course, we are getting the kicker sleepers. No, sorry, Jamie. I know you're kidding. Anyway, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, follow us, leave those comments, and of course, jump over to fantasysixpack.net, become an all-access member. Use promo code F6PPods and save 15%. Unless you guys got anything else to say, close it out. No,
I have a bus kicker. Don't take Justin Tucker. Oh wait, we have news too. Oh, news.
We didn't have news last week. I totally forgot about it. We haven't had news for 2 weeks, so I completely forgot. Man, why are you guys just yell at me? All right, Corey, go for it, since I suck at this right now.
So let us talk about the trade that was made between the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for fantasy purposes, Jonnu Smith goes from Miami to Pittsburgh. Not so, unless you're playing IDP, not so important fantasy purposes. Jalen Ramsey goes with Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh, and Minkah Fitzpatrick goes back to Miami. And then also, and it's a completely separate trade, and this was the other tight end I was talking about, who actually now has a career 1,000-yard season because he is back to being active after taking a year off to pursue a rap career that apparently didn't work out so well for him. And that is Darren Waller is back. His rights were traded from the Giants to the Miami Dolphins. So Jonnu Smith going to Pittsburgh and Darren Waller going to Miami. What are your thoughts, Joe?
Jonnu Smith, this just I mean, I think this really hurts Jonnu Smith's value here. I think everybody was moderately excited about Jonnu Smith still on the Dolphins. We liked what we saw last year. And now Pat Frymuth is an afterthought. Just don't worry about him at all at this point. He's going to have like touchdown games. That's pretty much all you're going to get from him. So good luck figuring those out. Jonnu Smith, I'm not really super interested in there. I guess he's probably the number 2 target there, but I don't know. Like, we'll see. I think what this does, even though Darren Waller is in Miami now, I'm not super interested in the guy who took off a full year to go rap and probably not really working on his physical conditioning like an NFL player should be. I think who this helps the most in Miami, Jalen Waddle. I think we're going to see a lot more of those targets go back his way, which is where his value was coming from, right? He was a volume guy, and I think we're going to get back to that a little bit more. He's still a guy who little hesitant to pull the trigger on, and it's this kind of the same deal with Tyreek Hill. You're seeing him fall down drafts as well, and I think that has a lot to do with the quarterback there, Tua, and his health. So, we know how bad this offense looks when Tua is not on the field. And I think we're just unfortunately seeing too much of that in the last couple of years. And so, you're seeing both of those guys' value drop. But I think if we can get a full season out of Tua, Waddle is going to crush his ADP because I think he is now easily the number 2 passer on his team behind Tyreek Hill. And I get it. I know they've still got Achan who catches a lot of passes as well, but I think I'm talking just like, your typical pass catchers. Achan plays a different role.
Yeah.
So
I don't see much out of this for either side, honestly. I mean, with Waller coming out of retirement, like, okay, great. Good for you. Like, how much do you actually have in the tank? Are you going to be a viable asset there? I agree with you that Waddle should be the beneficiary of these drop targets from Jonnu, but I could care less about him. Couldn't care less about him in Pittsburgh. I mean, it's gross. I mean,
Chaz over here is saying Miami's got backup QBs. I mean, like Zach Wilson. We really excited about Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers. Like, nah, I'm good. If it's Tua or bust here, and it's got, sadly, I think if Tua gets hurt, it's more bust than anything else.
Yeah,
been surprised before, but I'm not buying on the Zach Wilson being a good backup. So, Corey, you got any thoughts about this?
I mean, you guys kind of nailed it. So everybody seems to forget, like, it's been 5 seasons since Darren Waller was actually good. Like, it's not that he just retired and had 1,000 yards the last season before that. It was the last time he had 1,000 yards was 2020. Like, the last time we saw him play, he had 550 yards and 50 catches. I mean, that's fine, I guess, for a tight end, but that's not anything I'm excited for. I see people are like, oh, Darren Waller is going to be great. I'm like, I don't know about that. Probably not.
Yeah.
But
I can't with him. And look, I get it. I get what people are going to say. Like, oh, he had all those yards in what? I think it was like 11 or 12 games. So like, oh yeah, I mean, he was on his way to 1,000 or whatever. But like, that's also his problem. He gets hurt a lot. And so you took a year off from football. You're not probably in the greatest shape. He is not in the greatest shape of his life right now, probably. So like, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it with Darren Waller. I'm gonna have to see it before I believe it. So
for just a quick shout out on Jonnu, just because you mentioned it earlier, Aaron Rodgers is weird. So if Aaron Rodgers likes one of these tight ends, sure. I've seen him throw a ton of touchdowns to players like Richard Rodgers when he was with the Packers. So just pay attention to if he starts throwing to one of those tight ends early and often, he can find value in a tight end with an Aaron Rodgers offense.
Yeah. I will. It is once in a blue moon with Aaron Rodgers and tight ends, but people get super excited. I remember arguing with Richard Seville over Fantasy Six Pack here. Every year he would like bump the Packers tight end way up on the list. Because it was always like a new every year. It felt like they had a new tight end. Every time they got a new one, it was like, oh, he's tight end 6, and you're like, nah, I'm good. He's like, but he's done it before. I'm like, that was like 6 years ago. So nah, I can't with Jonnu. Like he's still, where do I have him? I've got him tight end 12. He had been tight end 7 for me, I believe.
Where do you have?
So
Fryer
he dropped. Oh, Frymouth is all the way down at like 25, 26 range. He's basically like undraftable. And like honestly, I could go farther. That was just sort of like a quick like reactionary, like I just got to move them down my list. I really shift through these. You could probably throw them in like the Jawan Johnson, Jatavian Sanders range, which is like more around like 26, 27, 28 range. Yeah, or sorry, farther than that even. So, I mean, tight end 2 on an offense that's really not going to pass the ball a lot to their tight ends, in my opinion, or their second tight ends especially. So, like I said, he'll have touchdown games where you could be like, oh, there he is. That's the Pat Frymouth we all knew, but like, nah, I'm good. So, all right, now I think we are done. Good night, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Happy 4th.